Namaste and welcome back. In this video, I will be presenting the cryptography overview. Anyhow, in the first lecture, I have provided the information security overview, which is in which I have provided the security concepts with respect to information and its security. In this video, I am presenting the cryptography overview. The reason behind this is many of the applications and systems are using the cryptography for especially for securing the data, and the ethical hacker must know the cryptography algorithms or must have the minimum knowledge of cryptography algorithms. Then only he can understand how the security was maintained or security algorithms are implemented in a particular application. So that is the reason he must understand the cryptography concepts. So in this video, I'm going to present the cryptography concepts that protects the properties of the cryptography such as confidentiality, authenticity, integrity, and non-repudiation. So let us start. The contents that will be covered in this video are: first of all, I will touch up the concepts of the symmetric and asymmetric cryptography, how the symmetric and asymmetric key algorithms will work, then how the integrity will be maintained with the help of hashing algorithms. Then in the symmetric and asymmetric key cryptographies, the main thing is key management. That means how the key management will be maintained. That means key creation, that means key generation, key distribution, key maintenance, rekeying, and key refreshment. So these are the concepts that will come under the key management. Next, I will explain the cryptography algorithms such as key distribution algorithms, public key infrastructure, and some other things that that are mostly used in many of the applications. And at the same time, what are the other applications that makes use of the cryptography, which are called applied cryptography. Well, the properties of the cryptography are four properties. One is confidentiality, second one is integrity, third one is authentication, and fourth one is non-repudiation. Confidentiality means the data should not be understood by the middle person between the when it is transiting between the sender and receiver. So the sender should not send the plain text so that the middle person or the intruder may go through that particular data and can understand it. So in order to do that, the sender has to do some manipulation with the data so that original data should become an understandable format. So this is the way of doing is called encryption. Encryption is a way of converting a plain text into a non-understandable format. This non-understandable format means it may be the plain text may be converted into junk form or junk symbols or maybe numbers or maybe any other form, so that the middle person between the sender and receiver, that means if anyone sitting on the communication channel and listening to the data transmission, that person should not understand what the exact data is going on. So for that, the main thing that is going to be used is encryption. So with encryption, the confidentiality of the data can be maintained. Next one is integrity. Integrity means the name itself telling you that there should not be any change in the original data sent by the sender. In order to know whether the sender has sent the whatever the sender has sent was received at the destination or not, or by the receiver or not. So this will be checked with the help of integrity. So for this, the sender may use the cryptographic hash functions, which are very popular cryptography algorithms. These hash functions aim is to take any input size, but will convert it into a fixed size message digest or fixed size hash code, and that particular code is attached with the encrypted data and will be sent to the receiver. At the receiving end, as usually, he will decrypt the data with the help of a key, and the decrypted data will be again run on the same hash function used by the sender, and thereby he will get the message digest. The receiver will check the message digest computed at his computer, and the message digest sent by the sender. If both were matched, then the integrity of the data is maintained. So this is the way integrity of the data will be checked. Authentication is a third property which indicates that only the intended receiver must read the data. So only intended receiver means so in order to do the encryption at the sender side, the sender may use a particular tool called a key for encrypting the data. Once the data is encrypted, at the receiving end, sometimes if the same key is used to decrypt the data, decrypting in the sense from converting from the junk form to the that is non-understandable form to the understandable form. So this non-understandable form is said to be ciphertext, and understandable form is said to be plain text. When it is converting from the ciphertext to the plain text, he may use the same key so that the ciphertext sent by the sender may be converted into the plain text. So whenever, if anyone is holding the key, then he is the authenticated person. So he is the only person can decrypt the data. So this is the way authentication will be maintained. But if you use, that means if the entire communication uses same key at the sending end and at the receiving end for the encryption and decryption, then such kind of cryptography is said to be symmetric key cryptography. The name itself telling you that symmetric in the sense same key is used at the sending end and receiving end. For sending end, they will use the same key for the encryption, and at the receiving end, the same key is used for the decryption. So, but if you use a key for encryption and a different key for decryption, that means multiple keys will be used. That means at the sending end, one key will be used, and the receiving end, another key will be used. Like unlike symmetric key encryption cryptography, then such kind of situation is said to be asymmetric key cryptography or asymmetric key algorithm. Or we can also say this is also the public key cryptography algorithms. That we'll see afterwards. Next is non-repudiation. Non-repudiation is a kind of property that it is an ensurement or ensuring that a sender cannot deny that he has not sent the message. That means how the receiver will ensure that this particular data was sent only by a particular sender. So whenever a receiver claims that okay, this data was received from so and so sender, so sender should not be in a position to deny that he has not sent out the message. This particular property is said to be non-repudiation. Usually, this non-repudiation will be achieved with the help of digital signatures. So we'll see these concepts in the next slides of the lecture. Terms in cryptography. These are the most commonly used terms in the cryptography, and in this lecture also I will use these terms regularly, frequently. Plain text or clear text. Here the plain text or clear text means human readable form text is said to be plain text or clear text. And ciphertext. Ciphertext is one that which was converted into non-readable form. So this is the ciphertext. Usually In order to convert the plain text or clear text into ciphertext, the sender may use some cryptography algorithms. So for that, they may use the help of keys. So here key is nothing but a long integer or a prime number, or maybe anything that can be used as a key. So these keys are used especially for converting the plain text into ciphertext. The mainly most probably people will use the exclusive OR operation for converting the plain text to ciphertext. For example, you consider a key, say for example an integer 11, and there exists a plain text called hello, how are you? So this 11 is a key, will be exclusively OR operation will be performed with this key 11 with all characters that are available in the plain text, so that the plain text will be converted into a non-understandable form. So unless until any middle person know the key that what he used for performing the exclusive OR operation, he cannot get the original text back. But if the key size is very small, then the intruder may try in a brute force manner that which key is suitable for decrypting the plain ciphertext. So the reason, even though you use encryption algorithm with the keys, if the key size is very small, then the breaking of the ciphertext is very easy. So the name itself telling you that cryptography is the art of secrets, where in case of cryptology, there is a term, another term called cryptology, is the art of breaking the secrets. Especially breaking the secrets in the sense, especially they will focus on breaking the ciphertext by discovering the key. So that reason, since there exists another strong department called cryptology, who especially will do this task of breaking the secrets, so they can identify easily the keys if the key size is too small. So the reason, a main thing that you must remember is whatever the algorithm, cryptography algorithm that you use, key size must be sufficiently long. When the key size is sufficiently long, then it is very difficult for the intruder or the man in middle to decode or to decrypt or to break the encrypted form of the plain text. Next one is message digest. Message digest is the hash code or the digest code that you will get after the applying of the cryptographic hash function on a plain text or a sufficiently large input. The input may be of anything or any size. Whenever that particular anything or any size was given as the input to the hash function, any of these hash functions will give us a fixed size message digest or fixed size hash code that is called message digest. Next one is signature. Signature indicates that it is just to think of a common scenario that if two persons or two parties want to make an agreement, so what they will do is they will make an agreement and both the parties will sign on the agreement. When the agreement is met, so the terms and conditions in the agreement must be followed by the both parties. In order to do that, they will go for a signature. In the same way, if anyone is sending a document over the communication channel, they may add their signature to the particular document and can send on the communication channel. If anyone wants to verify that this document has came from so and so person, they can also verify the signature so that they will come to know that whether this signature is a proper signature of the sender or not. So this way of doing is said to be signature, and especially this signature is not in the physical form but in a digital form. So that the reason this signature is also said to be digital signature. So we'll see the digital signature concepts once we understand the asymmetric key algorithms. This diagram shows the symmetric key cryptography. The name is telling you that symmetric. Symmetric means same key will be used. What is a key? Key is anything. Key can be anything that can be drawn from a large pool of integers or maybe characters, maybe anything. Okay, preferably it is integer. So just to observe the diagram, in this there is a plain text. Plain text means the text that can be in a human readable form. That is what we call plain text. Sender, what he will do is he will use the secret key that will be agreed upon both the sender and receiver. Say for example, a large secret key, say for example 1001, is agreed by both the sender and receiver. This 1001 will be used to encrypt the characters, each and every character in the plain text. So in order to perform the encryption, the sender, what he will do is he will use exclusively OR operation, XOR operation on each character with the secret key. So this process is said to be encryption. Once it is encrypted, then the plain text will be converted into non-readable form, or you cannot read this particular form like a plain text. This is said to be ciphertext. So this ciphertext, if anyone interrupted to the communication channel, and that is intruding into the communication channel and will observe these characters, then he will not get any message out of it. So thereby confidentiality of the data is maintained. Next, whenever this particular ciphertext receives at the destination or receiver end, the receiver will use the same secret key that was agreed upon by the sender to decrypt the ciphertext. The decryption is the procedure of rolling back to the plain text. In order to do that, each and every character in the ciphertext again will be exclusively ORed with the secret key. Thereby, he will get the plain text. That means receiver will get the plain text by performing the exclusively OR operation with the ciphertext and secret key. Then the receiver will get the plain text. So this is the way a key will be maintained that will be agreed upon by the sender and receiver, so that the same key will be used for the encryption and for the decryption. The advantage of this symmetric key cryptography is it preserves the confidentiality. As we have seen here, this ciphertext cannot be read is not in a readable form, so the reason it cannot be known to the intruders. This symmetric key encryption is very fast because exclusive operation is very fast and simple algorithms. And these symmetric key algorithms will also provide authenticity because the receiver is the only one who knows the secret key. So the reason he is the only person can decrypt this particular ciphertext. If anyone use other secret key to decrypt it, he will not get the original message. So in this way, it provides the secrecy of the text that is transiting between the sender and receiver. And at the same time, it is also verifying the validity of the receiver, so that only valid receiver can decrypt the ciphertext. So in this way, it will maintain the authenticity. The main drawback of this technique is the key management issues. If this key can be guessable, then any intruder or any hacker can try a brute force approach or a random approach for, and he may generate a random key or may generate the keys in a brute force manner and will try on the ciphertext. At least with at least with one key in the pool of keys, he may get the plain text. And whenever he gets the plain text, the the key with which he performs the exclusive operation is said to be the secret key. In this way, the key can be used. And if the same key is used for a long time, then if the intruder has observed the communication channel from long time, he may use an intelligent algorithm to understand the pattern that is passing between the plain text and sender and receiver. Thereby, he may draw a conclusion that okay, this pattern is in this particular fashion. I'm finding many junk characters in this form for particular communication or for a particular period of time. Thereby, he will draw an intelligent algorithm and will apply on that. Thereby, he may get a related integer with which that particular ciphertext or the particular junk character can be retrieved back to a plain character. That is the reason the key management concepts such as key generation, key distribution, key refreshment, rekeying has to be done properly. But because of the existing of the single key, is it possible for the sender and receiver to maintain secrecy? So that is the reason there exist many key management issues with the symmetric key cryptography algorithms. And one more thing is because of the single key between the sender and receiver, it is also not possible to maintain the non-repudiation. That means the receiver cannot say that this particular message has received from the particular sender. The reason is the participants in the communication channel will use the same secret key. For that reason, any receiver cannot explain or cannot say with 100% confidence that a particular message has received from a particular sender. So these are the drawbacks of the symmetric key cryptography algorithms. Now we'll see what are the various symmetric key algorithms used in the general applications. So here are this slides. This slide represents the list of various symmetric key algorithms. The first algorithm is a data encryption standard, which is a very old and repeatedly used symmetric key algorithm. This particular data encryption standard was usually adopted by the United States government in 1977, and still today, because of its simpleness and easy encryption, still today many of the applications are using this data encryption standard. It consisting of 56-bit key, where in case of triple DES algorithm, triple DES means the name is telling you that 3 times of data encryption standard algorithm. That means repeating the data encryption standard algorithm in some permutation for 3 times. It will use 168-bit key. See, please remember already I am telling from beginning I am telling you that key length decides the strength of the algorithm. So in 1977 means you can think of what is the computation capability of any computer. So at the time 56-bit key is a very strong, very high secrecy algorithm or high algorithm. So next triple DES algorithm is also a famous algorithm. Still today people are using that algorithm, which is a 168-bit key length. Many of the triple DES or 3 DES algorithms is most commonly used as a security solutions for the electronic commerce application. Next algorithm is Blowfish, which is a 448-bit key length algorithm. And this algorithm is especially designed to suit the 32-bit and 64-bit architectures of the computers. Where in case of International Data Encryption Algorithm, IDEA, which is a very popular algorithm used in popular security application called Pretty Good Privacy, PGP. This is a very old algorithm, but popularly used in the Pretty Good Privacy. This IDEA algorithm was first made available in 1990s. Then thereafter, it has received significant attention in many of the applications to use. Next algorithm is RC2 algorithm, which is a very simple algorithm in which the key size will vary between 1 to 2048 bits. Next one is RC4 algorithm. In this also, this is an enhanced version of RC2, and this RC versions of the algorithms was developed by the RSA Labs, and this RC2 was first released in 1996 by RSA Labs, and the algorithm will allow you to choose the keys between 1 to 2048, whereas RC4 is another algorithm which was first released in 1994. Then afterwards, slowly it was used in the WEP, popular WEP protocol for the wired networks, which is called a wired equivalent protection algorithm. First it was used for the wired, then slowly they have used it for the wireless network. So this is a very popular wireless network security algorithm for communication. Then next comes to the RC5. Okay, I forgot to tell one thing here. RC4 algorithm was cracked. You don't use RC4 algorithm because already the cryptologists have performed cracking on this RC4 algorithm. It is easily breakable, and our Indian only has developed this RC4 cracking algorithm as a cryptology research. So the recommendation is don't use RC4 algorithm. Next is RC5. Still people are using RC5 algorithm. So the flexibility of this RC5 algorithm is the user can define a key length. So it is similar to RC2, RC4, RC5, but user can define his own key length. Where in case of RC6 algorithm, which is an advanced of RC5, which is actually again developed by the RSA Labs, and it supports the key length to be varied between 128 to 256 bits. Next one is the Advanced Encryption Standard, or Regendal. This encryption standard is a very popular standard, which is popularly used nowadays, and was developed by the National Institute of Standards Technology, NIST. It is a very compact and fast algorithm, and will give you support for choosing of the keys between keys such as 128-bit, 192-bit, and 256-bit key length. And another algorithm is a two-fish algorithm. So this two-fish algorithm is just like a AES algorithm. We can say it is a candidate of AES, and it supports the key length between 128 to 256. Among all these things, these algorithms, AES is a very popular algorithm. Many of the many of the encryption methods or encryption applications will use the AES algorithm. And the US government also has prescribed AES as a standard algorithm to be used in many of the applications. And after DES, the AES has emerged as the standard encryption algorithm and also prescribed by the US government, and many of the US government applications and defense applications also uses this AES algorithm. So in this video, we have seen what are the properties of what are the properties of cryptography, and we have seen the importance of key in the encryption, and how the symmetric key algorithms will work, what are the advantages and disadvantages, and what are the various symmetric key algorithms available. In the next video, we'll see asymmetric key algorithms, hashing, and other concepts.